Hello everyone. In today's class, we will discuss about the Bernoulli's principle or Bernoulli's theorem. So it relates the pressure, kinetic energy and gravitational and potential energy of a fluid in a container. So according to Bernoulli's principle, the total mechanical energy of a moving fluid comprising the gravitational potential energy of elevation, the energy associated with the fluid pressure and the kinetic energy of the fluid in motion remains a constant. So before we are going to derive discussing about the Bernoulli's principle or Bernoulli's theorem, we need to discuss about the continuity equations. So these are the equations which explain how a fluid conserve mass in its motions. So the continuity equations in a fluid dynamics which can be defined as any steady state process, the rate at which the mass leaves the system should be equal to the rate at which mass enters a system. Let us consider a pipe through which we are flowing a fluid of non-density rho. Let A1 be the cross-sectional area at this end of the pipe and A2 be the area at this end. These are different, the cross-sectional areas are different, and let V1 be the velocity at this end and V2 be the velocity at this end. So in order to derive these equations, the mass of the fluid which will be contained in the shaded region on the lower end should be equal to, let it be delta M1. The mass occupied in the lower end, the shaded region, is equal to the density into volume. So what is the volume here? Let delta x1 is the length along this region and A1 is the cross-sectional area, so that the volume occupied by this region will be A1 into delta x1. So we are considering the flow for a short interval of time delta t. The fluid at the lower end of the pipe covers a distance delta x1 with a velocity v1. So that this delta x1 should be v1 into delta t, since v1 is delta x by delta t. So we can write delta m1, which is density, that is the density here is we consider as rho 1, and A1 is the area of cross section here, then delta x is V1 into delta t. So that the mass flux which can be defined as the mass of the fluid per unit time passing through any cross section. So the mass flux at this end of cross sectional area A1 can be defined as delta M1 by delta T, which is rho 1 A1 into V1. Similarly, if the fluid moves with a velocity v2 through the upper end here, then let A2 is the cross-sectional area there. Then we are considering the flow for a shorter interval of time delta t. Then the mass flux at the upper end is given as delta m2 by delta t, which should be equal to rho 2 A2 into v2. Now we will discuss about the different type of energy possessed by a flowing liquid. So let us consider a streamlined flow of liquid through a pipe. So this kind of fluid flow will associate with three type of energy. One is called the pressure energy because of its pressure of flowing, uh, and second one is the kinetic energy which will be due to the motion of the liquid with a particular velocity v, and the third one is the potential energy which is associated with the height. So we will consider the formula for these three type of energy. So the first one is the pressure energy per unit mass of the liquid, which can be given as P by rho. So where pressure energy is P into V. So where P is the pressure into V is the volume occupied. Per unit mass means that is rho into V. So the V and V we can cancel. So the expression for the pressure energy per unit mass will be P by rho. Similarly, the kinetic energy possessed by a fluid of velocity v will be half mv square. So the kinetic energy per unit mass will be half v square. And the potential energy associated with the height which is mgh, so that the potential energy per unit mass will be g into h. So these are the different energy forms per unit mass. Now, according to the Bernoulli's theorem, for the steady flow of a incompressible non-viscous fluid, the sum of pressure energy per unit mass, the potential energy per unit mass, and the kinetic energy per unit mass remains a constant at every point throughout the flow. So you are considering a flow of liquid through a pipe, and if you are considering at any point throughout this pipe, the sum of this pressure energy per unit mass, potential energy per unit mass, and kinetic energy per unit mass should be a constant. In order to prove the Bernoulli's theorem or Bernoulli's equations, consider a steady and incompressible flow of a non-viscous fluid through a pipe XY of non-uniform cross-section. Let A1 be the cross-sectional area at X and A2 be the cross-sectional area at Y. Let the pressure and velocity of the fluid at the end X and Y are P1 V1 and P2 V2 respectively, so that the flow work associated with the liquid at X, so the work done at X will be the pressure into area is the force into distance. So this is the force, P1 A1 is the force into distance, that is P1 A1 into V1 into delta T. So we are considering flow for a short interval of time delta T. So this is F into X, that is P1 A1 into V1 delta T. Similarly, the work done by the fluid leaving the pipe at Y, which will be W2, which is also will be P2 A2 into V2 delta T, so that we can consider the net work done per second on the fluid. So we are considering the net work done per second. So we can remove this delta T here. That will be W is equal to W1, the work done here, minus work done here, W1 minus W2, which will be P1 A1 V1 minus P2 A2 V2, which is partly used to lift the liquid from height h1. So this is the height here to height h2. So we can write this one as P1 minus P2 into A1 V1, since A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2 according to the continuity equations. So we can write the net work done is equal to the changing pressure into A1 V1. This net work done will cause the changes in kinetic energy as well as potential energy. First, we will consider the changes in kinetic energy per second, which will be equal to half m into v2 square minus v1 square. So this mass can be written as the volume into density. So here the volume is A1 into delta x1 into density rho. Since it is the mass, the changes in kinetic energy per second, this delta x by t, becomes a v1, so that the changes in kinetic energy per second can be written as half a1 into v1 rho, where v1 is the velocity at the end x into v2 square minus v1 square. Similarly, the changes in potential energy per second is equal to mg into h2 minus h1, and the mass we can written as mass per unit time, which is a1 into v1 rho into g h2 minus h1, where the h1 and h2 are the vertical heights of the axis of the tube at x and y respectively. So the total change in energy of the fluid in 1 second can be written as the summation of equation 2 and 3, which is half a1 v1 rho into v2 square minus v1 square plus a1 v1 rho g into h2 minus h1. And these changes will be the changes in kinetic energy and potential energy will be brought by the pressure difference as defined by the equation number 1, so that we can equate the equation 1 with this equation. Hence, the P1 minus P2 into A1 V1 is equal to half A1 V1 rho into V2 square minus V1 square plus A1 V1 rho G into H2 minus H1. From these expressions, we can write the P1 minus P2 is equal to, we can cut off this A1 V1, this is equal to half rho into V2 square minus V1 square plus rho G into H2 minus H1. This equation can be rewritten as the P1 plus half rho V1 square plus rho GH1 is equal to P2 plus half rho V2 square plus rho GH2. So we can rearrange these equations in this format. Then we divide this equation throughout by the rho. We will get the P1 by rho plus GH1 plus V1 square by 2 is equal to P2 by rho plus GH2 plus V2 square by 2. So from these LHS and RHS, we can say that the P by rho plus GH plus V2 square by 2 should be a constant. So these are the summation of the pressure energy per unit mass plus the potential energy per unit mass plus the kinetic energy per unit mass, which is found to be a constant at the point x and y. So in general, we can say that the summation of this pressure energy, potential energy and kinetic energy per unit mass should be a constant at any point throughout the length of the pipe. So which verifies the Bernoulli's theorem.